Good morning. Welcome back to Nick Can't Game, or Can He? Today we're diving back into Pro Wrestling Sim, doing another episode. Um, got another Nitro and Thunder for you, and should be having some fun here. Got the Nitro already booked out, ready to start booking the Thunder, and continuing on with our WCW Revival. As always, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell uh, here on YouTube, and you'll be notified whenever a new video is posted to the channel. With that said, let's head into the game and get started. Here we can see we're doing pretty well financially. Our popularity is growing across the board. We've got Nitro, as I said, already booked out, Thunder, and then we have a recap show that I've just added that will be doing a half hour of highlights on a posted to YouTube every week. And that doesn't need to be booked out because that will just be showing highlights from Nitro and Thunder. So let's go into Nitro. We've got a new storyline starting up since we finished a couple at the last pay-per-view, PLE. This one we're trying to do bring the Cruiserweight division into a bit more prominence. Got a set of contenders for that, the champion, and yeah, let's get started with the show. We've got this booked out. Yes, I'm ready to begin the show. We start with our regular show opening, highlighting various people who are in our main event scene, get their popularity up. We get an 88% approval rating out of that. Next we have our general manager arriving to the ring. We do that every week. It tends to get a pretty decent pop, 90% rating. Next we have our new world champion, Joe Hendry, making their entrance to coming into the ring, where he's being interviewed by Nikki Garcia, formerly Nikki Bella in the WWE, talking about his victory in the match against Brock Lesnar, his title, and what he expects going forward. And we get an 80% rating out of that. Next we have a 3-star match for the Cruiserweight Championship between Malachi Black, the champion, and Eddie Edwards, the challenger. And after the match, which was a 3.5-star match, 62% crowd reaction, 67% overall. After that, Malachi turns heel, and he just starts laying into Eddie after the match and just really attacking and brutalizing him, which, as Malachi turns heel, it turns Eddie face. So that gets a 71% final score. And then we have Bill coming out to the ring. He's talking about things that are going on in the company. He's announcing a cruiserweight contendership thing, where the 8 most qualified cruiserweight contenders will be facing off against each other for the next couple of months to come up with the number 1 challenger to Malachi Black's title. He's also talking about the attack that Jake Paul made on him the previous week after he was a special guest referee at Slamboree, and how he's not going to take that lying down, and he intends to deal with Jake Paul once and for all. So with all this set up, we get a rating for the segment of 99%, which is pretty nice. Next, we have a women's tag team match. The team of the Serpentine Splendor, Lady Maravilla, and Vipress against the party idols of Haley J and Mio Momono. They're all putting in good effort. They got a 3-star match. The crowd wasn't really there for it. We're going to have to build them up as stars so that the crowd does care for them. But the match quality was really great. We got a 52% final score because of that. And both teams have good chemistry as a team. The agent did a good job putting the story together. Haley picks up the win, and our winners gain slightly in popularity. The losers slightly drop in popularity. But we're gonna have to work to get some interview segments, get the crowd hot for these wrestlers, so that they don't have poor reactions to a great match anymore. Next, we see a backstage video of the 4 members of the Dead Man's Hand heel stable arriving to the arena. This goes over well with the crowd, 84% rating. Everybody goes up in popularity. Next, we have a women's world championship match. Becky Knox versus Isla Dawn. They managed to steal the show and up their game in the ring. They put in huge effort. The crowd enjoyed the special entrances. They really put the match story together well. Becky held on to her championship. 93% crowd rating. That's pretty sweet. And 2-star match overall. 81% for the final score. And their agent did help everyone learn in the segment, which was good. Next we have our other stable, the face stable of Top Flight, showing up at the arena. And that only gets us 72%. We'll have to see what we can do to get them a bit higher in popularity so the crowd will rate them better. Next we go to commercial. Advertising for the latest round of t-shirts, which is Malachi, Lady Maravilla, and Vipress, and their popularity goes up. The commercial gets an 89% rating. Next is a quarterfinal in the Cruiserweight Challenge, Ace Austin versus KSI. The overall, they weren't quite able to steal the show. They put in a decent effort. The agent really helped with the performance and did the heavy lifting. The crowd was kind of there, 62%, but they only had a 1-star match. Final score, 59%. After the match, Malachi comes in and beats up on the winner. He's trying to make a point that there's no one good enough to challenge him and he can take anyone out at any time. And so he does that. He attacks KSI, nails him with his finishing move, and that gets an 82% score. Next we have a match as far as the contenders for the television title go. And that is D-Jack versus EC3. Again, they weren't quite able to steal the show, though they did try. The agent team help. The crowd enjoyed the special entrance. They were there for it, but the match quality wasn't there. So that only got a 57%. EC3 is the winner. Got a slight bump in popularity. And we go on. Bill goes to the owner of the company, Ric Flair, and says he really wants a match with Jake Paul. And he wants it soon. And Rick agrees to this. That's going to be a 79% for the score for the segment. And then we go to commercial for the streaming service that the show is on. Everybody involved except for Becky sees their popularity go up. I guess Becky's popularity is high enough that it's not going to be affected much by these segments. We'll have to start using somebody else. But that got an 88% rating. Next we go to a women's match. Ronda Rousey versus Saraya. The crowd, it was considered a dud, but the crowd was there for it. It ended with Ronda winning by DQ when Eva Marie and her stable, the Poly Queens, come in and attack them both. This turns the crowd gets behind Saraya. She turns face, and they get into a fight. They manage to slightly hold off the attackers working together, and after this, Saraya says, "Look, we've got to work together. You can't do this on your own. Let me help you. Let me work with you in dealing with this threat to the women's division, to you, to us." She does this while Ronda is talking to Nikki, being interviewed about what just happened, and Ronda accepts her help, and so we move that forward, and Saraya gets added to the story arc, the storyline involving these people and Ronda, and that segment gets an 85%. Next up is a singles match between AJ Francis and Bishop Dyer, who is now a part of the Dead Man's Hand stable. They each have someone from their team, their stable, in their corner to keep things from going a little crazy. The match quality wasn't quite there, but the crowd was really into it, so we get a 60% overall final score. Bishop gets the win. They didn't have good chemistry as opponents, so we'll try to avoid having them face each other again in the future. But that gets a 60% overall rating. And then everybody out there at the time, AJ and Alex, Bishop and Kane, after the match they all start going at each other. They start brawling all the way from the ring through the entrance and all the way into the back. This gets an 87% rating, and then we move on to the main event, which is a tag team championship match between the Hardys, Matt and Jeff, versus the new legacy of Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Ted DiBiase Jr. Um, 3-star match, pretty good. 74% crowd reaction. Um, it looks like Jeff could have put in a little more effort, and Ted was struggling for breath by the end of the match. But they're all really good in tag team situations. The crowd enjoyed the entrances. Jeff got the pinfall, and he and Matt successfully held on to their tag team championship. And that gets us, like I said, a 3-star match, 72% overall. And that closes out the show. We're gaining popularity across the world, and we got an 83% show rating. We're definitely doing better on our show ratings. We still need to find a way to get the audience to care about our women's division, especially the people who are coming in from outside of the states. We'll have to do a lot more angle work and promo work to get that, to get those matches boosted up. And with that, we end our show. Yes, we're going to advance the Cruiserweight tournament. Alright. Let's see. So we have Marina Shafir, who is one of Ronda's friends, leaving the companies that she's working with. Let's see, has she signed with anybody else yet? She signed an informal agreement with AEW, but I think we can try to get her to work with Ronda. I think we can try to get her. Okay. Let's see. We sold 8,500 tickets, $350,000 in ticket sales after the gate share cost for our talent. We haven't broken the 2 million viewers yet for our weekly shows. We're still hovering around that and trying to get past the $295,000 in income. But yeah, let's put in an offer for Marina if she hasn't been picked up by anyone yet. Let's see if I can type correctly. Alright. Informal agreement. Why can't we begin negotiations? Oh, she did start a contract with All Elite. Darn it. I didn't see that. Okay. What about Ronda's other friend, Jessamine? Let's see if we can get her. Okay. Intimidation factor, star power. Her wrestling skill isn't all that great. But yeah, let's see. Make it 2 years so we can build her up. MMA fighter gimmick. Let's put her in the lower mid card until she proves herself. 7,000 a month, and let's make it a 10,000 signing bonus. Okay, make the offer. So we have an offer out to her. We have an offer out to someone to be our ring announcer because we don't really have one yet. So let us move on to the next to Thunder. Okay, we've got some mail here. We have us a ring announcer. That's good. We'll accept that. Finalize the contract. And move on to the actual Thunder date. Is there anybody else we might want to hire? No. Okay. Okay. Mail. Alright. We've got a new friend and someone to partner up with Rhonda. So we will definitely finalize that contract. Okay, and I've got someone coming over for my therapy. Should be here in about a couple minutes, so I will pause here and get back to it afterwards. So that took a bit longer than expected, but here we are. We're ready to start the next show. We've got Thunder all booked out. Probably won't get as high a rating as Nitro did, but I think we've got a decent, half-decent show set up here. And let's get the show started. So we have our show intro. 89% for our video package featuring some of our main stars of our brand. Next we see the stable of the Poly Queens arriving to the arena together, and that gets us a 95% rating. And then the face stable of Top Flight showing up to the show, and doesn't get quite as good a rating, but 69% is respectable. And for our first match, part of the Cruiserweight Challenge, we have Mustafa Ali versus Cedric Alexander. They put in a good effort. They impressed the crowd. It was a 2.5-star match. Crowd wasn't all that great, but the final score was a 58%. After the match, the champion, the Malachi Black, comes out and sprays the black mist in Cedric Alexander's face, and Cedric needs to get some medical attention. So that goes to further show that Malachi has definitely turned heel. He's trying to keep all the people in this Cruiserweight Challenge tournament. He's trying to make a point that there's nobody ready to face him, and that he'll make sure there's nobody worthy of challenging for his title. And then we move on to a tag team match. Alex Windsor and Maki Ito versus Nixon Duel and Santana Garrett. Sorry, I'm talking a bit more than I usually do, and it's got my voice a little sore. Some of them had decent reactions because they're riding away from momentum, putting in good effort. 2-star match overall, 57% final score. As the person getting the pinfall in the match, Alex gained a bit of popularity. And next is a video debut for Jessamyn Duke, who we just signed. She's going to be showing up soon, taking part in the ongoing rivalry storyline as an ally of Ronda Rousey. And then we had a video package showing off some of the stars of our show. Some of them that don't get a lot of, necessarily a lot of time on the show. And everybody's popularity went up. Some a bit more than others. We're trying to push some of the women that don't get the crowd involvement in their matches. And also some of the men who don't get many matches to show off their skills, and that gets a 100% score. Next we have an advertisement for the latest round of trading cards. And that gets an 84% of rating for the segment. And then we have Alex Kane being interviewed about his challenge for the U.S. title to Konosuke Takeshita, and that gets a 79%. Then we have a fatal 4-way match. Bully Ray, Enzo, Patrick Clark, and Paul Walter Hauser. It wasn't quite there to be able to steal the show. There was a big spot involving Bully Ray, Patrick Clark, and the announce table. It's saying that some of the people were struggling for breath by the end of the match. And Bully Ray was injured as a result. Nobody's popularity really increases. The crowd was mostly into it, 64% overall score. Next we have one of the challengers for the television title, EC3, calling out the current champion, Mystico, and that gets us an 81% overall segment score. Then we have a tag team match. The Club versus the Nemeth Brothers. Crowd was really into it, but the match quality wasn't quite there. 72% overall score. It looks like Nick Nemeth got the pin and got the popularity increase. After the match, being sore losers, the Club sneaks back into the ring, attacks the winners, and gives them a bit of a beatdown. And that has a 67% overall score. Next is our main event match, Leah Vandale versus Ash by Elegance. They got good reaction from their momentums. The match quality wasn't quite there, but the crowd was into it. 59% overall. And uh, after the match, there's a bit of a brawl between Ash and her manager, Amy, versus Leah and Eva Marie. And while they're going at it, Soraya and Rhonda come in from the crowd and they go after Eva and Leah. And that gets an 88% overall final score. And that brings us to the close of our show. 80% show rating. That's better than I expected. Gaining popularity across the board. Okay. Let's see, what is in our mail this week? Sonny wants to push sometime before August 23rd. I can give him that. Sure. We had $425,000 in ticket sales. We sold almost 10,000 tickets. That's not bad. And that dollar amount is after giving the workers their gate share clause. We're hovering around the same number of overall viewers. I'm not sure how to get that viewership up. We'll figure that out. And Bully Ray was hit with an injury and will have to miss some time. Let's see what it says in medical about that. Injured, brain injury, out until June 18th. So it's probably just a concussion. Because if it was a real serious brain injury, he'd be out for a hell of a lot longer than that. But okay. So let's see. Is there anybody coming up that we might want to hire? Let's see. Who is this Kyle Fletcher and what is he getting? Let's see. Fairly decent in wrestling skill and psychology. Fairly safe worker. I'm not sure what kind of money he's getting. Yeah, I'll think about whether or not I want to try to get in on this. And let's go to our next day. Okay. Right, I'm going to have to give it a pause and come back in a little bit. I've got some stuff that needs to be taken care of here at the house. Okay, so while I'm waiting for my second therapist to arrive, the one who does the occupational therapy, let's swing back into the game for a little bit. This is WCW This Week. It's our weekly recap show where we show highlights from some of the matches that occurred on Nitro and Thunder. I've got this filled out with the replay segments. This week hosted by our commentators. Beth Phoenix and Joey Styles, talking about key moments from some of the matches we've seen this week. And first they talk about a key moment from the match between Alex and Maki versus Nixon and Santana. And this gets an 83% overall score. Talking about the point where Malachi Black turned heel on Eddie Edwards in that match on Nitro. Gets an 80% segment score. And we can see the popularity of our commentators is increasing, as well as the popularity of the people who were involved in the match. Then we go into the tag match between the Hardys and the New Legacy, which was for the World Tag Team titles. And yeah, that one gets a 75% for the segment. And then replay of the match between Becky and Isla, and the conversation about that, and the main spot in that match that led to Becky's win gets an 86%. And for the final recap segment, we go to the match between the Nemeth brothers and the Club, and that gets us an 82% score for that segment. So our final score for our first recap show, highlight show, gains us 0.5 popularity in North America and a show rating of 81%. Okay. So yeah, for that we got $406,000, and we are at Sunday the 25th, and we will see. Scrolling down here, it doesn't look like they've got anybody coming up for contract renewal that we might want to get for ourselves. So we'll skip ahead to Monday and then call it an episode, and we will come back in our next episode and work on Nitro Thunder and our recap show again. And what do we have in the mail here? Promotional war report. WWE is winning fairly handily, but that's to be expected. They are the #1 company in the business. We won the war this week against AEW, and that's nice. But yeah, at this point we will call it an episode, and yeah, I thank you again for spending this time with me. I really appreciate it. The love, support, and kindness that you show me means the absolute world to me. I love you all. Take my love with you everywhere you go. I will see you again very soon. And remember, be good to each other. It's the highest calling in all the world. Show each other kindness, compassion, mercy, and love. And I'll see you again very soon.